Hey, thanks again for pressing play and welcome once again to another edition of the Suns Jam Session Podcast, the original post-game podcast on Planet Orange. Suns lose to the Heat. First game of a 6-game road trip and a fucking rock fight. This one was, my fellow Jamsters. One of those ones where it's hard to do a podcast directly after this one because it's hard to emotionally come down from what that game was. It was a game in which the Suns were down by 20 points in the third quarter, fought their way back almost literally, and then unexpected heroes and not Tyler Hero for the Miami Heat ultimately seals the fate for the Phoenix Suns as they lose 127 to 121. They are now 24-16 on the year. So we got plenty to talk about on this edition of the Suns Jam Session Podcast. Make sure you subscribe, make sure you rate, make sure you review, make sure you hit that thumbs up button. And check us out, on the BLEAV Podcast Network. We've been with them for a couple years now. They've been nothing but great to us. And this is sponsored by FanDuel, where I'm telling you, if you bet on the Devin Booker triple-double, you're pretty pissed, man, because he got so close, man. A rebound and an assist away from getting a triple-double for Devin Booker. So, like I said, plenty to talk about. And shout out to everyone on the YouTubes. I created a new intro. If you listen to this, it's just the same kind of 10-second musical intro, but I kind of updated it a little bit just for funsies to see if anybody would notice. And you guys noticed, man. So kudos to you guys. Really locked into all the little Easter eggs we have here on the Suns Jam Session Podcast. So crack them if you got them, my friends. You're going to need them tonight.
Session Podcast, shooting the shit about the Suns since 2019.
Welcome, Matthew, Paul, Lissy. Somebody put Lissy in the corner, it looks like, huh?
I'm literally in the parent corner right now. in the rocking chair, rocking back and forth. That's where I am, Jamsters, tonight. So dedicated and just ready to talk about the Suns and Heat. What a fucking game.
Dude, what an absolute rock fight. And it brings me to my first question.
Matthew, I've got to ask.
Matthew, I got to ask, how do you come down emotionally from this game?
It's the first thing is these 20-point, 25-point leads are always hard to come back from, right? And take the victory. But tonight really seemed like the Suns did have it, hitting big threes in the fourth quarter. You really thought they were going to take the victory. One that you thought going to halftime, it was over. You thought the Heat maybe actually had this one because the Suns never do give up, but this one seemed a little different. So then when you're back in it and you think it's over, the Suns have like a 5-point lead in the fourth after hitting a couple big threes. It's hard because you think this is one they should have won. A lot of these losses the Suns have, I'm like, well, next time we'll beat them. Oh, if we see them in a 7-game series, we can win that series. This one actually was one of the first ones where I'm kind of just disappointed. They should have just had this one, and they just could not finish it against the Heat.
Yeah, it feels like unfinished business in South Beach for the Suns, and that's where you can walk away and you can have a little bit of frustration. And again, emotionally, it's hard to come back down from that because, like you said, it was a game where they were down 20, and it felt like, okay, I'm going to continue to watch because I know who this team is and I know what their identity is, and they're going to fight back at some point. It's just how far down are they when they fight back, and would it be enough? And ultimately, it was. And they're up in this game 111 to 106. And you're like, dude, we got this one. Like, I was so excited. I'm like, I'm ready to walk through run through an effing wall for this team, man. I was so amped up. I was like, I can't wait to talk about this one on this podcast because this is another one of those defining wins. But ultimately, they end up losing another game that you feel like they could win. And that's an interesting point with this team. Think through the season. How many times have the Suns been blown out? It's few and far between. You have to go back to the first 10 games of the season. Denver Nuggets a couple times. The Rockets got us once, even though we were in it all the way till the fourth quarter. The Clippers got us like the second game of the season. But outside of that, you can literally look at all of the 15 losses, or 16 now, 16 losses for the Phoenix Suns. And there's about 12 of them where you're like, damn, man, that was a possession or two away from the Suns winning the game.
Yeah, that's when you know you're good. And that's when the Suns start taking care of business with these games where they are finishing these ones off solid. That's why tonight's kind of hurt a little bit more. But also they're a team really that's resilient. And you think that they can always come through in crunch time, and they have been over and over and over again. I do think the only blowout, which was the Thunder one in the
Oh,
tournament
yes.
early
Oh, yeah.
this year, that was I feel like the Suns were just dead ass tired in that game.
Well, no Booker in that game either.
No Booker too, but still they just that was one of the games where like the Thunder won by 50 or whatever, and everyone's like, "Oh shit, watch out for this team." I'm like, first of all, I still feel like they're beatable. Second of all, the Suns were just tired in that game. So that was the one excused game I feel like this season that the Suns lost.
Yeah, that and a couple Denver games. But again, in this
Yeah.
game, and 38 points in the third quarter, come back down 20. Oh, should we go with the good stuff or the bad stuff?
I think good stuff.
All right, we'll do the good
Let's
stuff.
do good stuff.
Tell me the
Right side.
So what I have in my bright side notes is stellar quarters by different players in this game. You had Grayson Allen, who in the first quarter was the saving grace, if you will, for the Phoenix Suns, as he came in the game and he ended up going 4 of 5 from the field, 3 of 4 from beyond the arc, and he had 11 points. And in the second quarter, it's almost like he said, tag it to Dylan Brooks. And Dylan Brooks had 11 points in the second quarter and kept the Suns afloat. You know, they're still down at the half. God, what was the halftime score? 71-54, right? You know, but at least these guys were playing in that manner. Brooks carried it into the third, but he had some help. Devin Booker had 9 points in that quarter. Mark Williams had 8 points in that quarter. And then the fourth quarter, it was Grayson Allen again. And it was kind of like, it just reminded me that the value in this team is you have numerous guys who can step up, step in, and at least give you sustained scoring runs. And that's what kept them ultimately in this game. The effort in the third quarter we can talk about unto itself, because that was the quarter that was just, again, made you want to run through a wall. For me, it was like limp through a wall, you know, because back issues. But
yeah,
I mean, that's the first note that I had. It's like, you know, great
Fall
job by
into a wall.
Grayson. just lean against
just
the wall.
fall sideways. Yeah.
Up against a wall. Up against a wall. Redneck mother. Who sings it? Doobies.
Oh,
All right.
Doobies. Yeah. Just kidding. I had no idea.
The Doobie Bros.
All right. Well, I mean, are you still going on that topic?
Nah. That was just kind of my
No?
first right side.
Well, I think I'll talk about Grayson Allen, I guess.
Okay.
Let me tell you a little story about a guy who shoots threes. Everyone hates him because he's a dookie. He's pretty underrated if you're asking me. His name is Grayson Allen.
So he was actually some of the stuff he does with passing. It's kind of getting frustrating a little bit. Like he's one of those dudes that really is irritating me constantly, game after game, with the turnovers. So obviously, he had one huge one at the end of the game where he was standing out of bounds. Right, he was completely out of bounds. I've never seen that. It was way out of bounds. And then he obviously had these passes from the paint to the perimeter that keep getting picked off game after game. Other than that, I just was thinking about. I mean, 25 points tonight from Grayson Allen. His three-point shooting is incredible, but I was thinking he is always just wide open, and he has like that step to the side three where he's making those constantly. But I was thinking about last year and the year before that, where the Suns were always trying to attempt these covered threes. Everything was contested. And now if you look at the Rockets, like their whole team right now is ISO and it's all contested. That's what I was hearing today on the podcast.
Yep.
And I'm like, the Suns always have like these wide open threes. And I think a lot of it obviously is running off screens. But Grayson Allen, I don't know if he had it last year, but the step to the side three where he constantly is hitting is something that I love. And it's something that obviously you wouldn't want a player to do all the time. It's like kind of like a quarterback kind of throwing against his body, but it looks so beautiful from him. And I love how our threes are just constantly open. We're not making all of them all the time, obviously, like tonight, for the majority, but they're always just wide open, dude. So
He's
gotta
had
point
that
that
in
out.
his bag. I don't think you saw it because you left the Jazz game early that one time.
Yeah, that's how he hit that three too.
That's how he hit it. I
Yeah,
know. That's what I'm saying.
yeah,
He hit the side three from Grayson. But yeah,
yeah,
and that's where his value is. And it's funny that you mentioned like the Rockets, a team that the Suns overtook in the standings, and we're gonna have to monitor because if they win tonight, they go back over the Suns in the standings,
yeah.
and then Twitter loses its mind because we all lose our mind when the Suns went up a little
We're
bit.
waiting for that.
Yeah, I know I did a little bit. I kind of
It's
oh yeah,
awesome.
the Rockets won. The Rockets beat the Bulls, so we're now the
Now
sixth seed again.
they still
Um,
suck.
but the issue that they're having is, like you said, a lot of teams are realizing right now during the dog days of the season that they miss professional NBA shooting, consistent NBA shooting, especially from beyond the arc. That's where Royce comes in. That's where Grayson comes in. That's where their value is. And I know that a lot of people are like, well, if you package them together and then you trade them, you get a power forward. I'm like, cool. And then you don't have those two guys to
Yeah.
shoot threes, and they can take turn with that sustained offense. And again, that's why I value where they're at. I think they're on massively quality contracts for the Suns right now. So I like where we're at with them. Don't trade them is kind of my
Yeah.
I continue to have that. I want to talk a little bit about Mark Williams.
Yeah. Mark Williams is a bad man. Yeah. Ripping rebounds, blocking shots, playing like a madman. Yeah. Crowd go wild when he raised that hand. Pain in the paint, that's the master plan. Williams is a bad man.
18 and 14 for big Mark Will tonight. 12 of those points came in the second half. And that was the key, in my opinion, to turning this game around. When you play against Miami, I talked about this on the podcast the other night. When you play against Miami, they're a different kind of team. One, they're well coached. Two, Spo has this new offense that he's deployed that Zach Lowe's talked about, where it's a lot of isolation sets. They're going to run ISO and beat you 1-to-1. They're not going to send high screen and rolls at you. They're going to try to take advantage of that. And ultimately, the Suns in the first half were being picked apart by the Heat in that capacity. And then when they start to do the penetration, it's the pen and pop. And next thing you know, they're hitting threes. And for a team that doesn't normally hit threes, or they're a really good 3-point shooting team. It's the guys who hit the threes tonight that really hurt us at the back end. But Mark Williams, the Suns, part of that adjustment, and that was the best thing about this game, in my opinion, Jamsters, if you didn't watch the game, is the Suns were boat raced in the first half. I'm going to talk about it in the burn book. But it was the halftime adjustment by Jordan Ott to go, you know what? Here's how we're going to counter this. Is on the offensive end, we're going to burn them. Okay, they're getting easy buckets down here. Points in the paint. In the first half, 36-24 in favor of the Heat. In the second half, 30-22 in favor of the Suns. That was the adjustment. Utilize Mark Williams more. And as that happened, everything else started to open up, and the shots finally fell for Phoenix.
Yeah, that's like the next step with him, right? It's kind of utilizing him different ways. It's kind of in a way where I wanted Aiton to play, like where he was in the center and the guys kind of like revolved around him, and he was passing the ball outside the perimeter. We have so many shooters now that I think Mark Williams can really play that role. I think they did such a good job, really, with the back-to-backs, and now that's not really a thing anymore where they were resting him, and he's healthy, he's playing well, he's playing hard every possession, right? And I couldn't tell you the difference between the game tonight to the last game to the game before that. Like in the box score, I would have no idea like what he's scoring, right? He has a 14 rebounds tonight, 18 points, but sometimes he'll just have 12 points and 8 rebounds or something like that. It's
Yep.
still the same exact kind of effort. So I always have to check the box score with this dude because that's not really what is important to me. I think just the all-out hustle, like you said, but more and more and more, they got to get this guy involved on the offensive end because he is a threat.
Well, that's the key of the Suns, and everything you said personifies who the team is you can't always check the box score on them because you're going to find some wonky numbers. And I know, we got text threads going during the game, and, we'll talk about Devin Booker here momentarily, twisted his left ankle, came back.
Yeah.
But, somebody in one of my text threads is like, good, they needed his 5 of 17 shooting. I'm like, tell me you're not watching the game without telling me you're not watching the game. Because if you're focused purely on his efficiency tonight, you're missing the story here. Because it was Devin Booker's effort in that third quarter that really helped propel the Phoenix Suns back into this game. Was he inefficient? Sure. Could he have hit a couple more shots? Absolutely. But at the same time, it was his effort and his leadership that brought him back into this game and got him to that point. And it's the same thing with Mark Williams, right? Effort is nonstop. I was watching something on Twitter today, and it was the Queefers, right? Mark Queef and it was the Morai. And they were talking about DeAndre Ayton. And
Yes.
I don't know if I think it was Markeith. Markeith's like, I sat on the bench next to Luka Doncic and we'd watch DA play on the Portland Trailblazers, and we knew that guy wasn't it because of his effort. He's not a sacrificial big man. That's the words that he used. And I'm like, you know what? I can't stand the Morai, but that is a great phrase because it personifies who Mark Williams is. He's a sacrificial big man. He'll do whatever he can to help the team. Whereas DeAndre Ayton, per Markieff Morris, in talking to Luka Doncic when they were opponents of him, joked on the sidelines how DA's only going to do what benefits him. He's only going to rebound when it benefits him, and he's going to take fadeaway 18-footers, and nobody on a team wants to give it to their big man if that's what they're going to do. And hearing those comments today, then watching this game tonight with Mark Williams, it's exactly what he was. In the first half, he was the sacrificial big man. When those isolation sets were running and Ryan Dunn was getting cooked and filleted by Norman Powell on isolation sets, just running by him, Mark Williams is the guy who has to stand there underneath and be like, okay, I'm going to try to defend this. And then either he doesn't defend quick enough and it's a Powell floater, or he defends too quick and Bam Adebayo's crushing it behind him in his face. But you know what? He stuck in there. He maintained his effort. He didn't hang his head. He stick to the game plan, and Jordan Knott put him in a position to be successful in the second half, and he was.
And it's so weird to see that with big men or anybody in the NBA, even in the NFL, like guys that just play all out. Like they're not on the biggest contracts. Obviously, you're trying to prove yourself, you're Mark Williams, but there are guys on this team, including Mark Williams, that go all out. They sacrifice themselves. And sometimes I'm like, okay, hold on. Don't hurt yourself, because I'm not used to seeing this all the time. Because a lot of players are very, very selfish, like a DA, where they're just going to do what they want to do. They're not going to do what's asked. But these guys will. The Suns will. And it's weird because you keep looking at these guys that are on the trade market. Like Trae Young went for nothing. John Morant is gonna go for nothing. These are superstars. You thought like a year ago we're gonna get traded for 6 first-round draft picks. And that's usually what was happening the last 2 years. But now you're looking at teams like the Suns, who fan bases, they're gonna hate this team. They're gonna be one of the most hated teams entering the playoffs because of Dylan Brooks, because of the way they play, because of how hard they play. And they have nobody on the team. We're led by Devin Booker, a guy that a lot of us didn't believe in. And it has to do with just the all-out effort all around. And with Mark Williams doing that, it's such a weird thing to sit down and watch, because you don't see it night in, night out in the NBA, but you see it here from him all the time.
And that's what's made this season so enjoyable for Suns fans, because we were a product of the me versus we environment for the past couple of seasons. Yeah. That team that went to the finals, that was a we versus me. And that was DeAndre Ayton wanting to be a we player because it benefited him contractually. He got his money and he went right back to what he truly was, and as he stated. And so you're 100% correct. The Suns are a team that nobody wants to play because of that connectivity. It's the same reason nobody wants to play against OKC, not only because they're extremely talented, but it's the type of basketball that they play. It's a selfless brand of basketball. Yeah. And yes, to your point, the league is trying to pivot to that type of team, but it's hard to replicate, because no matter what, in sports, egos still exist, and they will always exist, because you are the best player on your AAU team, the best player in high school, the best player on your college basketball team, and now you're the 8th guy on the fucking bench, and you have to learn how to check yourself, and it goes for position by position. So Mark Williams sparked some good positive conversation
always.
Here.
I feel like always. Like you can just
I love Mark
every
Williams,
game.
man.
Yeah, I mean, where does he rank? Is he your 3rd favorite player on this team? Maybe is he behind Dylan Brooks?
Question.
I feel like him and Dylan Brooks are really neck and neck right now.
Dylan Brooks is a different
I love what Dylan
type
brings.
of player.
Yeah, but like they're just neck and neck with me for me right now. But
that's tough, man. Because
we can do a whole pod on that, I guess.
We really could rank you. Suns rank, but instead of best player, favorite player, that could be like a whole thing. You know what? We should do that during the All-Star break.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's rank these guys.
Absolutely.
Even Livers. I love that guy. I love me some Livers.
he delivers.
Liver spots. In the spots.
What else you got for the bright side?
Well, bright side, whatever else I had, kind of leaked into the bad
Okay, so let
the
me.
bad stuff. The
So what
burn
I'll
book.
do is I'll start with Devin Booker because there's pros and cons
Yeah.
there.
Allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is
Big Dick Booker.
Booker in this game, 6 of 19 from the field, 1 of 5 from beyond the arc, 11 of 11 from the free throw line, 9 assists, 9 rebounds, 24 total points. Second best scorer on this team behind Dillon Brooks and Grayson Allen, who both had 25. Booker in this game, yes, inefficient. I get it. My thing is, for those of you who didn't watch the game, he gets hurt on a play where he's chasing down a block. And he jumps in the air, nearly hits his head on the backboard. I'm like, fucking A, Book's got some hops that you just don't see quite often. Lands funny, twists the ankle in the third quarter, right when the Suns are like 2 points away from coming back. And I'll start with this question. Now, granted, he comes back. So let me ask you this question. I'll start with this one because I got a couple different questions on this whole Devin Booker, twisting his ankle thing. If this is last year's team, does Devin Booker come back in this game?
Oh no, I don't think so. I was surprised he came back tonight.
Yeah, I thought he was done.
I
Like,
thought he was done. 2
Cool.
weeks.
Way to start the road trip.
Yeah.
I honestly think, now granted, I think that he's going to be out. And it sucks because they play in Detroit next, and Book loves playing back to Detroit. But I think that Booker, if this is last year's team, I think there's no chance in hell he comes back in this game. That he ices it and goes, you know what, on to the next one. But the level of competition on this team, the connectivity, the camaraderie, and for those of you who don't think that Devin Booker has leadership characteristics, look at tonight. Look at the way he played in that third quarter. Look at the way that he came back in this game. When, again, and I'm seeing people in the chat, Saul's like, nope. Mark's like, nope. They did not. No one thought that Booker would be back. That's a leader right there. That's somebody going out there, and you saw him grimacing, but he wanted to be out there with his guys fighting for potentially having an opportunity to win this game. And that's I think that's probably the most disappointing thing about this game, Matthew, is the sheer fact that they didn't win, because my guess is, Mary asks in the chat how long he's going to be out. Like you said, it might be a couple weeks, I'm guessing, depending on it. But he was so high up in the air, and he came down right on that ankle.
Yeah, it's scary to think about the different situations that might unfold too with him being hurt. Because right now you want Jalen Green to come back on this trip, which it's possible. According to I, that's the plan, him coming back this road trip. With Book being gone, you're like, okay, well, Jalen Green can come in and take over for him, right? But then I'm just like, damn, like there is always that issue with like a Jalen Green coming in and doing too much or being too much, taking weird shots, and you're just worried. I'm worried about that happening, and then the Suns fan base kind of turning on him quickly if Booker's out, because I think Booker kind of evens that out if he's on the floor with him. So I'm thinking about that, him coming back, but also Booker's going to be out for 2 weeks. I'm surprised he came back in this game. But you just feel like there's always these spots in the season where you're rolling, the power rankings come out, the Suns are 5th in the ESPN or NBA poll.
NBA, yeah.
I hate power rankings, but they're the 5th. And you're just like, all right, they have a target on their back. Here we go. How are they going to respond? They come out empty in the first half. They come back, should have won the game. Booker gets hurt. He's probably going to miss time. It's like there's always these rough patches. But then I'm also thinking too, I'm like, well, if they can handle themselves in the rest of the road trip and maybe go 500, that's a plus. That's going to be a huge thing without Booker. So that's even another notch underneath their belt.
How Suns is it, though, that Jalen Green's right around the corner? Like, you can hear him around the corner flushing. Like, he's finally done taking that shit. And you're like, finally, here he comes. And then, like, you go to say, hey, how you doing, buddy? It's good to see you. And you twist, you fall down. You're like, and then you shit your pants. Like, that's right where the Suns are. It's like, it's so Suns for that to happen. But the other thing that I loved about this game, and it falls into Devin Booker, was like, it was Booker versus Pele Larson, right? It was Dillon Brooks versus Norman Powell. It was Bam Adebayo versus Grayson Allen. Like, this was just it was a rock fight in every capacity of the word. And so it was just fun to, like, God, it would have been nice to win this one, man, because it was such a good physical Phoenix Suns type game.
It was.
Man.
It's the Suns didn't lose themselves either. Like, there is a composure to Dillon Brooks now, even though at the end he pulled down.
I don't know about the end, man. I don't know.
But
yeah, I should.
Yeah,
let me add that to the. Let me add that to the burn book. Wait, we're not on the burn book yet. I'll get to that then.
Are we? Oh, you saw? You're not ready to move on yet?
Let's burn
The
book
Suns
it.
Jam session. Burn book.
The Suns Jam session. Burn book.
Start with Dylan Brooks just because we're on that topic.
Dylan, the villain.
Oh, man, we got the whole Dylan Brooks experience tonight, didn't we? 25 points, 1 of 10 from beyond the arc. You know why? Because simple bet this time. I'm like, Dylan Brooks, 2 threes. On going to FanDuel, Dylan Brooks, 2 threes. No big deal. He shoots a ton. He's bound to hit 2. 1 of fucking 10. 11 of 24 from the field. So it's like if you take out his 3-point shooting, he was 10 of 14 from the field. You know?
Yeah.
Another technical foul. I think he's 1 tech away from being suspended. So on this road trip, most likely we're going to be down a game with Dylan Brooks, potentially Devin Booker, when because he's going to start getting suspended for his technical fouls. And then it was unnecessary contact at the end. And Eddie Johnson or K-Ray, I forget who, said it perfectly. You know, for those of you again who didn't watch, Suns are down 121 to 118. They dish the ball to Dylan Brooks in the corner. He shoots a 3. He overshoots it. He misses it, but he comes down in an unnatural motion and slaps Aaron Wiggins, who sells it, right? He acts like he gets hit in the face. He got hit on the shoulder. It wasn't a flagrant per se, but it was just unnecessary contact by Dylan Brooks. And it's unfortunate because, again, like, if that doesn't happen, so what if they got the ball, you foul, you get into the free throw game, and you got some sharpshooters. You can still do this, but it's just one of those situations where Dylan Brooks just, you know, we got the 85% at times, and we got the 15% at times, Matthew.
Yeah, I forget who was talking about in the locker room where Booker tells, Dylan to chill out sometimes. Who was talking about that? Maybe it was Rex Chapman. He was on some podcast, and he was in there, and Booker kind of holds him accountable. That's what it seems like. These are times where when the review comes in, you see that, you're like, why the fuck would you do that, right? And then on the other side of it, I'm like, doesn't he hit his hand? Isn't that a foul first or no? Is that not a foul first? Like, if the Suns review that's reviewed, and it's the Suns on the other side of things, that's a foul. The other team has three free throws, but the Suns don't, and Dylan pulls the guy down, Wiggins down, and it's a flagrant. I understand it's a flagrant. It's a stupid play. But there's a foul that happened before that, I thought. But maybe they're not looking at that because of the Suns.
They're not. They're
it
not.
always happens. Yeah.
Unfortunately, they're not, and it's just like, it's just the way it goes. And I love this. Christian in the chat is like, can we please get a drop for the zebras?
Oh, we got to. Yeah.
And Mary asks in the chat, let's say Brooks gets another tech and gets suspended, right? That's number 16. What happens if he gets another one after that? So the NBA rule is every other one you get a suspension. So 16th, you're suspended. 17th, no suspension. 18th, suspended. 19th, no suspension. 20th, suspended. So, I mean, and we're not even halfway through the season yet, Matthew. This was game number 40. Dylan Brooks has a long way to go, man.
Yeah.
He's gonna end up missing probably about like 5 games due to suspensions, I'm guessing.
I think so too. And the drive to the rim where he pushed off on Powell and he went into the basketball, the hoop. Was that really a tech? Like instantly? That was the tech?
So the reason that was a tech, no. I don't think they gave him a tech on. Was that the play he got a tech on?
I swear it was.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah.
So essentially what happened on that one, and I love K-Ray and I love Eddie Johnson. I really love Rex Chapman on because they just nail the refs, right? Pummel the refs. But essentially what happened on that play is Dylan Brooks was going up. Norman Powell comes across his arms from the left to the right and slaps him down. So Dylan Brooks is going down. His arms and the ball are going. It's a foul on Norman Powell.
Mm-hmm.
And then what he does is then Dylan Brooks violently comes forward, right? It's this follow through motion that he has, just like on the Andrew Wiggins play, where he's just doing a little bit excessive. Now, what you got to remember, right before that, a couple minutes before that, him and Norman Powell were getting into it, and so that was kind of an opportunity for retaliation. Norman Powell gets up and then starts yelling at Dylan Brooks, but they instantly and it's quite honestly, and we all know it. We watch these games. It's reputation with Dylan Brooks at this point. He has such a short leash, and it's really frustrating because you see players like Draymond Green who do the same shit, and they can sit there and literally have the Clark W. Griswold on Christmas Vacation, dickless, hopeless, spineless piece of monkey shit he is. Hallelujah. Holy shit. Where's the Tylenol? Kind of rant at an official. And he doesn't even, and the official's like, Draymond's being
just laugh it off,
Draymond.
right?
Yeah, but Dylan Brooks does anything remotely like that, and boom, it's an instant tech. Instantly.
And I was watching the Lakers game last night too, to the Kings. They lost to the Kings. It's awesome. I can watch the Lakers all the time now because they're absolutely abysmal. The LeBron James is with the ref, and he touches the ref and pushes him to show like what the guy was doing to him.
Oh, yeah.
You can't touch the ref. How many times we have to see this where guys are not getting ejected for touching the ref? You can't touch them or put your hands on them.
LeBron does it. LeBron did it in the game with the whole Dylan Brooks fiasco.
Yeah, I mean, he did it there too. It's like he's not getting ejected. Obviously, he'll probably be killed.
You know why? It's because he went to Diddy parties.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, he knows that 50 Cent's coming out, so we're waiting for that. So it's a great season by the Lakers.
100%.
I love the Lakers.
I love seeing them suck.
We would have jumped them in the standings tonight too if we got the win.
I know.
So
I know. Now they're playing the Hawks right now. First quarter, 16-15. It would have been nice to jump them, but now we're back down to 6. So what else you got in the burn book?
The 3-point shooting. So I was saying, Suns started off 5 for 10 in the fourth quarter. They were shooting below 30% in the whole game leading up to that point. They look great. They're hitting the big shots, right? It's like, well, you're just jacking up threes. It's like, well, that's a big part of the Suns. And what they do to win games is hit threes with the guys that can do it in clutch situations. But as soon as I was writing that, the Heat were just 1 for 6, and then they hit 3 in a row, basically to take a 3-point lead, and it was over. It was one of those things where I feel like the Suns got out-Suns by the Heat. It just seemed like they did, because I haven't seen this really all year where other teams were hitting daggers like this to send the Suns home. And it just was something that I wasn't expecting. So it's part of the burn book. It's not really on anybody. The defense was fine, but just the fact that the Heat were hitting this after I was typing that really made me mad, because I'm like, oh, the Suns are gonna finish this shooting 50% in the fourth quarter.
Yeah,
perfect time to start hitting those shots, and didn't happen. I don't think they hit another one the rest of the game.
Well, and it was Bam Adebayo doing it too, and that's what absolutely
that's the crazy part.
Destroys you. Bam Adebayo, 32% 3-point shooter in the fourth quarter alone. He goes 2 of 3 from beyond the arc, 5 of 6 from the field, and 13 points. And he's the driving factor that helped the Heat win this game. And it's just, again, it's unfortunate because, again, you don't know what's going to happen with Devin Booker relative to his health. We know that Jalen Green's not going to be playing in Detroit. Jornad already said that. So the guess is potentially in New York against the Knicks, which is, again, another unfortunate thing for Booker, because Booker cooks in Detroit and New York. Those are 2 cities that guy gets up for. So I'm hoping that he really I hope he's healthy, man. I hope he's healthy.
Man, please.
Ted in the chat says, burn book for me is ought for no Rasheer minutes tonight. That kind of plays into one of my burn books.
Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun,
Yeah, Ryan Dunn played 16 minutes and 28 seconds tonight. He was a -12, 3 points, a couple rebounds, 3 personal fouls. Everybody talks about Ryan Dunn as a great defender. Like, I see this narrative on Twitter because people are at times frustrated with the fact that Ryan Dunn isn't playing and Royce O'Neal is. Okay? And the reason Royce O'Neal gets minutes over Ryan Dunn is because Royce O'Neal gives you one deliverable that is consistent, and that's his 3-point shot. Now, granted, it dries up. It goes away. Every player's does. But ultimately, I mean, he's shooting, 40-something%?
Yeah.
This season, 42%, I think. Ryan Dunn, everybody's like, well, you put him in there. He's a better defender. Hashtag, is he? This team, the Miami Heat, we knew what they were going to we knew what they were going to bring. This is a team that came into this game. They lost 3 consecutive games on the road. They have Eric Spoelstra, who's now the longest tenured coach in all sports because Mike Tomlin stepped down.
Yeah.
Because he's a good tactician. And from a tactical standpoint, he had his team ready. And that was my big fear in this one. I'm like, the Suns are going to get blitzed in the first. And I'm an idiot because that's the bet I should have taken on FanDuel, is just like Miami Heat over in the first easily. 3-5 points, I should have done it because I knew it was going to happen because the Suns are traveling west to East Coast. They're feeling good about themselves, and we're Suns fans. We know that the other foot is going to drop. You know why? Because we started feeling good about ourselves these past couple days. You know, we're 9-2 in the last 11 games since Christmas, and we have the best defensive rating, and yada yada yada, and we give up 127 points as a result. And Ryan Dunn was a part of that because his defense was so subpar. I mean, he ended up playing a grand total of 4 minutes in the second half because Ott recognized it. And so I don't disagree with Ted's comment there because, yeah, maybe some Rasheer out there just to add some length. But, man, he had a rough night on defense, my friend.
Yeah, I think Rasheer is maybe a couple months away to be really relied on for at least 10 minutes a game of valuable time. I think I like Rasheer, what he brings, but just watching him, he's the only guy that's looking around not knowing where he's supposed to be defensively a lot of the times.
Yeah, he uses it
But
as athleticism to
he
make up
doesn't
for
make
it.
up for it. Yeah. Ryan Dunn, though, obviously I've always had my struggles in the beginning of the season, but there's something where when it's a physical team and he has to go against like bigger guards, like Mitchell today, who actually went out with an injury,
Yeah.
or play defense behind them. It's a difficult task for him. I just feel like these guys that are more physical, he has a hard time keeping up with. But him and Oso have kind of just fallen off. I know the Washington game, everyone did pretty good in that game, but they've fallen off a little bit, right? They come back more down to earth. And he's a guy that I don't think he's on the trading block at all, but he's a guy that you can't really just rely on. I think Royce O'Neal, we're stretching him a little thin at times, but he's more of a guy that I'm more comfortable having the ball and just being in those tough game situations more than Ryan Dunn.
100%, because again, you know he can pop a three, and you don't know. And somebody just said it, and I had the comment up. Max says it, and this is so true. Dunn was pretty bad, kept getting blown by. He's a good defender, but overreacts too much to the offensive player and can't shoot. When and if the game slows down for him, he'll be much better. That was his challenge tonight. Is he bit on every hesitation that Miami threw at him? If it was Powell, if it was Davion Mitchell, they'd all hesi right. He bite, they just go left, and it was like an open range. And again, they put Mark Williams in those situations where he was being abused. And so I look at it like Ryan Dunn again. Yeah, he's not on the trading block. No one's on the trading block. Those guys aren't on the trading block. They're worth fucking $3 million. No one's gonna, they make $10 million.
Player back. They need some young players back though in the trade. Get Ryan Dunn and Oso.
yeah. Right.
Throw them in. Building blocks.
You got anything else for the burn book?
Nothing really. I think this obviously was a game the Suns should have won, but I'm looking at it as they know their mistakes, but also the biggest burn is like it has to stop sometimes with Dylan Brooks. I know we already talked about it, but there just has to be a point where I'm watching these games and the Suns are on a run and he makes these plays where I'm like, dude, if you don't do that, we maybe take the lead, or if you don't do that, we go on an 11-0 run instead of a 7-0 run. Like he just has these moments where it's really frustrating to me. So that kind of mentions that again. So get that off my chest.
100%. The only other thing I have in my burn book is something made me feel old today, Matthew. And it wasn't you in a rocking chair doing a podcast. It wasn't the fact that I threw my back out to start the new year, and that's how 2026 has begun. Although things are trending upward. I sat today, Matthew.
You sat down? Did you get up?
I had a 40-minute meeting. I sat down. I got up. I was crickety. I laid in the bed, had a heat pad for 5 minutes, and I was back at it. I'm like, I'm
good.
I'm almost there. But
you're ahead of schedule.
Because this last time this happened was like a month. The thing that made me feel old today was obviously the Kings beat the Rockets 2 nights ago, and then the Kings beat the Lakers last night. And I put a tweet out thanking the Kings for doing that because it helped the Suns. We were tied with the Lakers at 8.5 games back behind OKC as of last night. And I thanked them. I put a picture from the Sun Kings and I said, hashtag House Suns Kings. And in that picture, it was Devin Booker and had Tyson Chandler behind him on a horse from the old Game of Zones, right?
Yeah.
And I had multiple comments that are like, what is Tyson Chandler doing there? I'm like, holy shit. Young people don't know Game of Zones. The epicness that was Game of Zones from Bleacher Report 7-8 years ago. And that made me feel old today because I was like, oh, dude, yeah, Suns King, man. He's like, it's a real dragon. And Dragon Bender like pops his head out and Eric Bledsoe. I mean, it was just,
that was rookie. That was Devin Booker's rookie year, right? With Tyson Chandler, or 2 years he played with them.
I think it was.
I remember they had like a documentary or something with those guys traveling and stuff like that.
Yeah. But that made me feel old. And I just wanted to share that with you and the Jamsters. If you don't remember House Sun Kings. Just go Google it, man. It's fucking priceless.
Yeah,
It's
it is
good
depressing
stuff.
though a little bit because that was the time, but
Yeah, it was
we're
once upon a time.
far ahead of schedule now.
Did you hang out on the subreddit tonight?
Boy, oh boy, did I not.
Good. I totally did.
Good.
The Suns Jam Session Subreddit Stakeout.
The subreddit stakeout is brought to you by NettlesAir.com.
Need a unit, we've got you covered. NettlesAir.com is where to go, brother. Call 623-444-4888. Nettles Air makes your home feel great.
Where is she?
Great
like I'm
game to be on a
sleeping
subreddit. Yeah, Matthew's literally rocking
When I'm looking
himself.
down at the screen, it looks like I'm asleep.
Matthew's literally just rocking himself to sleep. All right.
Excuse me.
Great night to be on the subreddit of an opposing team.
For those of you who are new here, what we do is we go to the opposing team's subreddits and hear what they have to say about the game from the opposing team's point of view. But we can't show up dressed as ourselves. We look like Suns fans. That can't happen. So we go in disguise.
So I went as Bat.
Dear
Man,
Granny. God.
I wish Gillespie was on our team. He'd be the perfect Duncan replacement.
Ooh.
Grayson Allen is 30. What the fuck?
Is that old or young?
Yeah, that's old. People are like, oh shit.
Really?
Grayson
I feel like
Allen's
that's about
30?
right. He's been around forever, I feel like.
He has, but if he hasn't been on your team, you don't know where he's been.
Yeah, you don't know where he's been.
Okay, I haven't seen us play this well in so long. Where the fuck has this ball movement been? Brooks kicking around like the Tasmanian devil on Jaime. No call. Come on, Suns. Lock in before Pat Riley decides this team is a contender and decides everyone is untouchable.
That dude got a lot of downvotes for that comment
Yeah.
in the subreddit.
Well,
Everyone's like, what the fuck you, man?
What a season Brooks has had this year. Brooks really leveled his game up.
All these nice comments from the Heat fans.
Yeah, the Heat culture, man.
Yeah,
That's what they got going on.
yeah. You know, and then like Devin Booker hurt himself. They're like,
Damn, Hope D Book is good. Suns are overperforming this year.
and then
I don't know. It's so
and
funny.
then Booker came back and all hell broke loose.
Booker, low key, always been a bitch. I think Paley Larson could take Booker in an actual fight. I don't think it would be close.
Do you think Booker could take Paley Larson in a fight?
Who's that?
The guy who he got into it with? Number 9, the white guy.
Oh, I
went
was
to
thinking
U of A.
I was thinking of a celebrity when he said that name.
Oh no. Oh, you're thinking of like Pele?
Sure.
Let's see what else. Hold on. I fucked something up here. Let me minimize that. There we go.
Fuck you, Booker. Don't you touch our Swedish king, you bastard. Fuck the poverty Suns. This game is making me glad we didn't draft Booker. So unlikable.
And this comment warmed my heart. And if you're a Suns fan, I hope it warms your heart too.
Why do the Suns think they're the bad boy Pistons?
The Suns Jam Session Subreddit Stakeout.
Now listen, I grew up in the era of the bad boy Pistons, and fuck the bad boy Pistons. But I'll tell you what, I never wanted to play the bad boy Pistons. And if the Suns are getting that reputation, I'm here for it because they're my team and I love it.
Yeah, they are. I was actually thinking that was Ben Wallace' team, but that was way before that.
Oh, yeah,
My
yeah.
bad.
It was like 16
Yeah, it was a while
years
ago.
before. Anything else you want to add before we hand out the Jamstar?
I'm good. I've been thinking about Jamstar. I don't know who it's going to be.
Oh, that's a good question.
Jamstar of the game.
The Jamstar of the game is brought to you by Bubba Chubb's Cards and Collectibles. And you know me, Matthew. I'm a card collector. Hold on one second. Let's see here. I've got the Topps Devin Booker card. I got the Devin Booker Diamond Refractor card. I got the Devin Booker Gold card. That's one of 2025. I got the Devin Booker 150 out of 250 Purple Refractor. I just eat these things up. So if you're somebody who's a card collector, I highly recommend going to Bubba Chubb's Cards and Collectibles. That's BubbaChubbsCards.com. Thank you for sponsoring the segment. Matthew, who do you give the Jamstar to in this one?
Let's go to almost triple-double, I guess, Devin Booker, just for coming back in. But also, he came back in, was lifting and shot a three to try to tie the game, and I didn't like that shot at all. So this is tough. I don't really think there's anybody worthy of it because Grayson Allen made some really boneheaded plays too. God, I'll just give it to Booker, dude.
Classy Nasty says Booker sprained his third leg.
Jeez, nasty.
Yeah, I think I'm going to
give it to Williams.
Yeah, Mark Williams.
Yeah.
It's got to be Mark Williams. He changed the game, in my opinion. It's little things, right? Now, don't get me wrong. I want to give it to Devin Booker, just like you do, because I know that he might be out for a couple weeks, and I'm not going to have an opportunity to do so. But I got to give it to Mark Williams in this one. Saul says Jamstar equals Booker with Mark Williams a close second. Aussie Suns fan podcast. Check them out when they're on live, probably about 9 p.m. on Saturdays. He says Jamstars to Book. Christian says to John and Matt, no doubt. Look at Matthew rocking away.
Yeah, just cruising. I'm gonna be an old granny for a subreddit.
You should just put on the wig and the glasses.
Yeah.
Mark Will from Ted. Williams from Mary. Joe says they're a card if that jumper he did. I shouldn't have read that one. Mark Booker. So yeah, I mean that's kind of where we're at. Williams and Booker. No one's giving it to Dylan Brooks. So yeah.
Just like I said, every player made some boneheaded plays that cost us a win. So
this is true. That's how it goes in losses.
Bad taste in our mouth right now.
You fine tune and you identify when those are. But again, thank you to Bubba Chubb's Cards and Collectibles at BubbaChubbsCards.com for sponsoring the segment. You can follow the link in the description, whether you're watching or listening, to visit their site. All right, up next for the Suns, man. 2 days from tonight, Detroit Pistons, best in the East. Going into that that's gonna be a tough fucking game, man. Is this a game? Let me ask you this: Is this a game? You know that Devin Booker, or you know that Jalen Green's not playing. Devin Booker is questionable at this point. We'll see how it progresses. My guess is, like we said, that looked like a 2-week injury at least with that sprained ankle. Could be more. It's the book twos. Got to have more ankle support there. Is this a game where you go into and you just go, okay, we're playing this like OKC in the NBA Cup? Play the scrubs.
No, because I think that it's like the other way around. I think the Pistons might look at the Suns like, hey, they don't have anybody, so he might take them, by surprise. Just a Colin Gillespie game. Maybe he scores 35 points this game. Maybe we just rebound really well against a good rebounding team in the Pistons. But it might be going the other way, man. I want to count the Suns team out like that Thunder game, but I just want to see how they do without these guys. And if they make it a game against the Pistons, then I'd be very, very impressed without Booker.
That's the right answer. I don't care who the fuck it is. You play Suns basketball. You put your best foot forward, even if it's a little limpy, but you're going to get the best shot from the Suns because that's who and what they are. One thing I forgot to add to my burn book, this fucking sweat on this hat. You see this? Look at that.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that, man.
I thought it was like a couple autographs down there or something.
No.
Like Oliver Miller or something.
I think this is the hat I was wearing when I put up my Christmas lights. And I sweat that day.
Oh,
It's Arizona.
all hot putting up Christmas lights.
Yeah,
We're talking about that, how hot it is outside.
Oh, I know. And like
still.
And then we still got Christmas lights out front, and because I threw my back out on like the 3rd. And I'm like, my game plan typically is Martin Luther King Day is typically when I take my Christmas lights down. So that's next Monday. So I'm hoping I can get there. Because if not, man, we got a huge wreath out front. We just look like idiots. Everyone on the block everyone who walks their dog, they take a shit in our yard. They're like, hey, man, fucking take your lights down.
Well, yeah. You think you could put up a sign just saying my back's down? Give me 1 moment, 1 minute. Give me 2 minutes. I'll be out there.
No, man, I play that song by Taylor Swift. We have a boombox out there. And it's like, you can leave your Christmas lights up till February or whatever the fuck she says.
Oh, I don't even know that song. So
yeah, it's off the Lover album. Justin, if you're in the chat, back me up. You know what I'm talking about. Anything else, Matthew, before we get out of here? Or are you about to go to sleep? It looks like you've rocked yourself pretty.
Yeah, no, I think nothing else for me. I think tonight was one of those games we see what happens, man. It might be a turning point for the Suns. You never know. It gets to the point where these games might be bigger than what we think. So
you never know. All right, Suns fans. Well, we appreciate you hanging out. You can follow him at Matthew Lissy on Twitter. You can follow me at Darth Voida. You can read my writing at brightsideofthesun.com. We are 2 weeks away from Dave King's Brightside Night. That'll be happening on the 27th against the Brooklyn Nets. Rex Chapman is who the interview is going to be with this year. I put together my questions today on what I'm going to ask Sexy Rexy as we interview him for Dave King's Brightside Night. So outside of that, tell them what to do, Matthew.
Go love your family.
Hey, you're listening to the Suns Jam Session podcast, shooting the shit about the Suns since 2019.